Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, second hour kicking off right now on this Friday morning. Thanks for hanging out with us, no matter where you're listening to us from or how you are listening. We've got those radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com, WAYYradio.com. The video stream is also up and rolling. Download the app, take it on the go. No Dr. Crow here this morning. The doc is out of the office, so we will not have inside the training room here this morning, but we'll catch up with the good doc next time. So filling in, though, for him and pretending to be a doc this morning, because we're going to quiz him on some stuff, is Mr. Berg. Good morning.
Dr. Berg.
Dr. Berg. My apologies. My apologies.
I didn't go to medical school for 8 years to be called Mister.
8 years? Why not 7?
Don't worry about it.
Is it? Well, thanks for hopping in a little earlier here, sir.
I was just glad I understood your...
the tweet?
Yeah.
Or I did tag him?
Yeah, I'm like, there's no Dr. Crow. So I'm like, I better double check and see. He's like, yeah, he is...
Is out of the office.
He's out of the office.
Out of the office. So we've got lots to hit up on. We've got Brewers taking on the Twinnies. Are you going to go? Did you decide yet? Or?
No, I have not, because I keep looking at the forecast for Sunday.
That makes my life miserable for this, too.
So that's why I'm just like, yeah. See, this is what happens. You don't have a roof. You have to think of these things.
You know what? Then they should play that extra game at AmFam Field when they meet up later on.
They should.
Just saying. Why don't fault the Brewers for that one.
Right.
So
maybe they don't want me to go, because it would not be the first time I was somewhere in Minnesota, or that I was there in Minnesota and it was a rain delay and I was chanting close the roof.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that game leading up to it. But Brewers yesterday picking up another win, 5-1 on this homestand, and literally an inch away from maybe going 6-0 if you look at the Bryce score. If you just a little taller, that ball is a little bit lower.
Is it the most irritating 5-1 homestand in recent history?
Maybe, because it was that close. But Yankees, Padres, they began those series where those teams were in first place in their Division II. And, I mean, if you're grading that series, right? It's a very impressive series, or homestand. Against the Yankees and the Padres, where now we're officially a month or first quarters in the books mathematically for the Crew. If you had to give them a letter grade, Brandon, what's your letter grade?
I think I would probably say B+.
That's where I was at.
I'd say B to B+. Yep. I may lean more towards B+ just because of kind of working through some injuries.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But no, that's what I would say. I mean, they've been good. I mean, there's some losing streaks and there's some winning streaks. That's baseball.
But
just in general, it does feel like this is a team that once again is, kind of pointed in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, if you want to look at areas of improvement or weaknesses, you could say the home run ball. But they're doing a really good job of preventing the home run ball, too. They're still scoring a bunch of runs when you look at run differential and such, but that's probably one area. But I was between B plus, because you factor in some of the injuries. I mean, you began the season without Jackson Chourio for a long stretch. No Andrew Vaughn. Christian Yelich has been out now with a back issue and such. And you've put a ton of pressure on your younger pitchers, and they have, for the most part, have really succeeded and played really well. So, yeah, I'd probably go between a B plus, like an 86, 87%. If we're doing like the letter grade somewhere around there.
Yeah, like a solid grade.
Yeah, exactly. From a pitcher standpoint, first quarter grades, who could be bullpen starter, who would you give the highest grades to?
It's really tough for me to not just go Jacob Mizrowski.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so far he has definitely kind of blew past my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the level of consistency we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was something last year, and obviously so, your first full year in the major leagues, and you could see the talent, but there were times where it just wasn't really clicking. it really seems like so far he's cut down some of that inconsistency a little bit. Now if he has kind of a struggle inning, it's there's a couple guys got on and then he got out of it kind of a thing. Versus last year where it seemed like it would kind of snowball on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of this also just comes with kind of maturity and growth. But like he's still obviously energetic, but it just seems like he's kind of maybe a little bit more just kind of in command of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just comes with time.
Yeah. It just seems like this is a dude that shines in the biggest moments, too, even when you look at last year. And then, obviously, with the Yankees game. And then, even the Boston game where it kind of he was pitching incredibly well up until that last inning and such. But then the Padres game. And this is, he is, I think we had high expectations, but he has surpassed mine so far this year, too.
Same.
It's just, he's to the point of where now it's whenever he has a starts, I'm almost preparing myself, okay, what am I going to see tonight? Whether it's 10 straight 102 or higher miles per hour to begin a game or some ridiculous, still throwing 103 in the seventh inning and such. It's unbelievable. Is he a legitimate ace?
It's trending. It's certainly trending in that direction. Mm-hmm.
Is he elite?
Trending in that direction. When you have those strikeout numbers, but you still pitch that deep into games, and you're still kind of, suppressing runs the way you do,
mm-hmm.
or the way he's done. I don't see how it could be anything else.
Right. Yeah. I think it is. So, you throw a little Aaron Ashby in there for what he's meant to the bullpen. I think D.L. Hall is kind of getting overshadowed because of what Aaron Ashby has done, but D.L. Hall, I think, has been really solid out of the pen, too. So, and obviously Kyle Harrison, what we saw yesterday, 4-1, and now he's just a skosh over 2 with his ERA. You throw him in the conversation for maybe most surprising sort of thing. But Harrison came in with a lot of
there's a prospect pedigree there, even though it hadn't really fully clicked in his first 2 stops. It was just one of those things where I think you knew it was there. You just had to kind of bring it out.
Yeah.
And the Brewers have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And, credit to Kyle Harrison first and foremost. He's done that.
Right. Position player-wise, is it between Terang and Contreras at this point for most impressive?
I would say so. And I would probably lean in the Terang direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just been a little more dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And, just kind of continuing the growth, kind of taking that another step forward from what we've seen these last few years, where we've just he's went from let's be honest, an offensive liability, to now arguably their best just player in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have put Terang in the Sal Frelick GOAT category for myself now. So I love watching that guy play baseball. Just very kind of quiet, goes about his business, and I think I gravitate towards people, too, who just continue to get better every single year.
Right. The old saying in sports is development isn't linear,
mm-hmm.
but it kind of has been with him, where he has gotten just kind of incrementally better every year.
Right. Yeah. And it stinks because I think eventually he's going to price himself out, and then, you look at who they've got waiting in the wings and that. But,
right.
If there was another player that was going to get the Braun or Yelich type of extension, would that be Terang if all things were kind of equal?
Right. Possible. I think you've kind of already maybe seen that with Churio a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he's that kind of, as we've seen going back to Braun, there's always been kind of one guy that's kind of been that guy.
And it seems like it's always a position player.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, teams just in general are a little more confident in paying position players long term.
Mm-hmm.
But that Churio contract is still pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So hey, I wouldn't mind it if they just decide, hey, we could go Terang too, and then kind of you figure out the rest later as far as how maybe some of those other younger guys fit.
Right. Yeah. And I know everybody's kind of saying the Brewers should sign up Mizorowski right away and that. But it always takes 2 to tango in this thing.
Right, and you have to, it's very possible that, the players on the other end of things kind of, obviously they understand the landscape too.
Right, because I look at it, I'm sure, I would imagine that the Pirates will love to sign Paul Skeens right now, but Paul Skeens and his agents in his camp is probably saying, just wait, be patient.
Or they have a good understanding of their value.
Yeah.
And what they view their value and what the team kind of wants to pay for that value may not intersect.
Yeah, because I just feel like you continue that trend, you're going to get paid a whole lot more if you get closer to that free agent market and such. Mm-hmm. And I get it. It's the balance of stability or security compared to
maximizing what you can get.
Right. And ultimately, that's the player's decision and the representation. So I get it. Brewers fans kind of are saying, Brewers, lock him up. But Mizorowski has a say in that too, whether he wants to sign that or not. Right now, his stock is trending super hot. So, but in terms of improvement, I mean, it's Ortiz probably. I threw in Sal Frelick. I'd like to see a little bit more production from him.
I thought you meant like if showing improvement. I'm like, well.
Oh, no. Like it needs to improve. Like they're in restricted study hall, and then, they got to get their grades back up. So.
Yeah. I mean, that would be one. That would certainly,
Pitching was a little bit harder for me. Is it almost Quinn Priester by default? Just
Maybe there's just a little bit of injury luck in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting Woodruff back. I mean, I think another one as far as, needs improvement. I mean, after his hot start, Garrett Mitchell. He had the double yesterday, but I think especially the thing there is with those guys, you have minor leaguers kind of knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've talked a lot about Cooper Pratt at AAA, Luis Lara, who, again, if those guys are going to get called up, you need to call them up with an avenue to play every day. You can't call them up just to get 4 at-bats a week. That doesn't do anybody any good.
Right.
So.
Is it, I noticed this, I think it was in the loss to the Padres, or it was one of those games, staying with Garrett Mitchell, the fact that Blake Perkins came in as a defensive sub.
It was one of those games.
Yeah. And I was like, that was kind of interesting.
It's interesting because, I mean, I haven't looked enough into the defensive metrics to see if Mitchell's defense maybe isn't grading quite as well, because I know even Perkins's isn't quite, but it just it does seem like there has been some misses out there in center this year. And look, these are tough plays you're asking guys to make, but they are plays in the past that Garrett Mitchell's made.
Right.
Where he gets there and maybe he doesn't just quite he doesn't catch it quite right or that kind of stuff. But it's a competitive environment for that outfield, in that outfield right now. So
yeah, and I know he tried yesterday with that diving catch. Yeah. I think everybody was holding their breath.
Yeah, looked like he was all right. So I think he doubled when he came back to the plate. So hopefully he's all right. So, but it's it's a competitive environment right there right now with obviously Churio and Frelick, who's still going to play pretty much every day, and you're just kind of trying to put the pieces together. And we right now we just don't know about Yelich.
Right.
I mean, even though that would still probably be predominantly DH, but. Prior to the start of the year anyway, I kind of made it sound like from Pat Murphy that maybe Yelich might play a little more in the outfield, but I mean, that maybe got put on hold a little bit with how things have went here, so we'll see.
Is that one of the bigger questions now heading into the second quarter of the season? Is how many we're going to see from Yelich? Because he comes back and now it's a back type of thing. And I know during that game I saw the back brace and I'm like, oh boy, is that just preventive or is there something going on or what? But
yeah.
And I know Pat said, Yelich was pushing to play and they're just kind of protecting him from himself. Is that coach speak sort of thing to try? I don't know. But.
It went from Yelich is back to Yelich is back.
Yeah.
It became an apostrophe.
There you go. So, all right, let's talk some more Brewers as we get set for this series against the Twinnies rivalry weekends. We'll hit that up coming up after this quick break. Summer is right around the corner, and that means it is time to freshen up your home from the ground up with Carpet City Flooring Center. Whether you're hosting backyard get-togethers, opening the doors to family and friends, or you're just ready for a seasonal refresh, new flooring can completely transform your space. From soft, comfortable carpet to durable luxury vinyl planks, Carpet City Flooring Center has everything you need to bring your vision to life. It's not just about the looks. It's about quality that you can count on and expert guidance every step of the way. Their team is ready to help you find the perfect fit for your style, your needs, and your budget. So before summer officially kicks off, make sure your home is ready to shine. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center today and take the first step towards a space that you will love all season long. We got Brewers, Twins, border battle starting tonight, 6:10, first pitch. Joe Ryan is going to be the starting pitcher for the Twinnies. Nothing officially official yet from the Brewers on who that starter is going to be, but I would imagine at some points, you kind of wonder, is it like a Chad Patrick opener, bullpen? I don't even know if I want to call it bullpen because they've got guys who could go a couple innings, a piece sort of thing. I would imagine one of those is going to be maybe a Patrick kind of spot start sort of thing. Yeah,
maybe the bulk pitcher as they like to say.
Yep. And then I don't know because they're only one that's been officially announced was Logan Henderson for tomorrow.
Right. And the interesting thing here too is, and it's going to work out that way anyway, but like obviously after the Twin Series, the Cub Series, and it's set up where, as of right now anyway, assuming, there's nothing with the cramp that Mizorowski suffered, had, and that ended his start against the Padres, is Mizorowski, Harrison, and then maybe Patrick. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't think it's a coincidence that, with a couple off days and the rain out with St. Louis, they've been able to kind of jockey their rotation a little bit, and Mizorowski and Harrison are lined up to start at the start of the Cup Series.
Right.
I don't think that's coincidence.
Not at all. And that's what I would like.
And it makes sense. No, it makes sense. So, but yeah, kind of figuring this out a little bit. I mean, I would assume Brandon Sproat's probably in line for that Sunday game. Mm-hmm. But if this ever happens where we get to the point where we kind of see that Brewers rotation back at quote unquote full strength, I brought this up before, but I really like what I've seen out of Chad Patrick just kind of in relief. And
we saw that, was that Friday against the Yankees?
It was in the Yankees, Saturday.
Saturday, yep.
Where he pitched really well. For now, he's still a good option in the rotation, but to me, that maybe using him, that might be the best route for him because I think his stuff just plays up a little bit more there. Mm-hmm. But obviously right now, he's needed in the rotation.
Right.
But I think ultimately, it's a bit like Aaron Ashby, where Aaron Ashby could start, but I just think he's more dynamic as a reliever. Mm-hmm. And, if he's similar to Ashby, where he's a guy that can go, he can go a batter, he can go 2 innings. What's better than having one Aaron Ashby? Well, try to have 2 of them.
Right, yeah. And then, you throw in a little DL Hall in there too, right?
Right, and considering this team, lost who coming into the season was their top lefty reliever, which is Jarek Koenig. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like he's going to be back, which is good. At first, it didn't sound super great, but
right.
The fact that they've got, you mentioned Aaron Ashby and DL Hall, and Brian Fitzpatrick. I know he kind of ran a little bit of traffic yesterday, but for a guy that's just getting up to the majors for the first time, I think he's been good. Shane Rowan, I think, as a reliever especially.
And that would be a nice boost with Zerpa being done for the year.
Right, and not to mention Angel Zerpa, who, a lot of people, I think both of us included, were expecting big things out of, especially coming out of the WBC. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they've got this amount of depth as far as left-handed relievers go, where you're getting into your 4th, your 5th, guy that maybe you were looking at the start of the year, and they're pitching well.
Yeah.
That's a really good sign.
Right. I love Drowan's mind, how he looks on the field. He's so dialed in. And I think it was BA was kind of even talking about it on one of the telecasts, but it's just, he is so zoned in and dialed in, this stoic look that he always has on there. But he's been a nice surprise,
right. And
too.
He might be another one that, maybe set up to pitch, multiple innings tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he can.
Right.
You've got, and a guy like Jake Woodford, who is, I think, the guy that nobody ever talks about the bullpen because he's the long reliever, but he's a guy that.
And he came in late.
Yeah.
It was a late acquisition.
Right.
Yeah. At the end
he's
of camp,
and he's a guy that, you're not, there's nobody out there that's like Jake Woodford is my favorite Brewer.
Right.
But he.
Except for his family.
Except for his family. Yep. But he's a veteran that, can give you innings. Mm-hmm. This might be a night where you say, hey, can you get us a time through the order? Can you, if you come in the 4th inning, can you get us through the 6th if it's working well?
Right.
That just might be kind of what it is.
Yep. Yeah. But there's a lot to like with this pitching staff, even with a couple of the hiccups and injuries that they've had with Woodruff and then Zerpa and Quinn Priester not able to come back yet.
They worked through it.
These younger dudes have just really, really stood up.
And that's kind of the encouraging thing because you see in baseball a lot sometimes where, to me, it's one thing if it's a 30-year-old kind of journeyman. Mm-hmm. If let's just say Jake Woodford, had gotten placed in the rotation because of injury and was doing really well. You could say, oh, that's exciting, but look, this guy is, upper 20s. Like maybe this is just more of kind of a 1-year thing. But when you look at all these younger players, it's like, no, this is kind of, one, I'm sure what the team was kind of expecting. Mm-hmm. And it's always so exciting to kind of try to project into the future.
Right.
What it could look like.
Yep. So, we got, we know the Twins are going to be throwing out Ryan tonight. So obviously probably their best starter and such. And Brewers have a little bit of experience going up against him in that. But, so we'll see what that kind of looks like. It's rivalry weekends, which Cubs will be going up against White Sox and the weird one of Padres and Mariners. and
the battle for the West Coast.
Right. So, but again, I we've said it many times. I really don't have a problem with the Twins.
No, to me, the Twins and the T-Wolves kind of fall into that same thing. And I think part of it is just because they're not in the same division or conference. Mm-hmm. So, I've said this many times before. I always enjoy my trips to Target Field. Like, I have several friends who are Twins fans, so it's like I would like to see the Twins do well. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be like, well, if the Brewers aren't winning, I'm cheering for the Twins. Like, I'm a Brewers fan very much first and foremost, but like I like to see the Twins do well. It's fun. Like, now, if that time comes when there's realignment and the Brewers and Twins are suddenly back in the same division, well, that might change a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Or if the T-Wolves suddenly are, in the same division as the Bucks, then that might change a little bit. But
so
also,
what if the Vikings leave the division?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And that's why, like, you'll hear like a lot of like maybe older fans who don't, maybe aren't because they remember the AL days. Yeah. And I understand that. Mm-hmm. But also something fun to consider. I believe right now the probable starter tomorrow for the Twins is Connor Prelip, who's from Toma.
Oh,
so that's fun.
Yeah.
He made his major league debut a little bit earlier this year, lefty starter. So that's kind of cool. Little local connection there with someone from Toma. So
nice little nugget there from Mr. Berg, Dr. Berg. Dr. Berg. I have my apologies. So, all right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. Plenty more baseball talk, but if you want to send over your first quarter grades, please do so. Hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or you can hit us up on the Section 105 chat on our YouTube video stream. We'll be right back after these few words. Looking for a great spot to unwind in Eau Claire? You need to check out the VFW Post at 305 and take in the view from their gorgeous back patio. It's one of the best in town. It's the perfect time of the year for that. Whether you're meeting some friends, enjoying a cold beverage, or just soaking up a summer evening, this is the place to be. With live bands, fun events, and something happening all the time, there's always a reason to stop by. VFW Post 305, great views, great vibes, right here in Eau Claire. Doesn't a VFW breakfast sound really good right now, Brandon?
Sure does.
Man, I don't know why I'm starving this morning. I don't know why. Probably because it's been like nonstop go schedule-wise in the Casper house. Baseball. Whether it's watching games or coaching or playing, been busy. But switch gears here for a little bit because next hour we'll do some local sports roundup. We'll do our cream of the crops and pump the brakes full throttle. Schedule release is out, so we get week 1.
Yeah, jump right in.
You versus me, week 1.
Oh boy,
right away in your house. But from your side of things for the Vikings schedule. Anything really stand out to you?
Not especially. I mean, as is always the case, I think when it comes to these things, there's things about the schedule I like, things I don't. I think if I remember correctly off the top of my head, I think 4 of the last 6 games for the Vikings are at home, which is nice. I think Packers are kind of a similar thing where they're
4 of the last 5, yeah.
Yeah, they're home heavy near the end. I'll be honest, I do like starting with Green Bay in part because, well, we'll see about when Micah Parsons is back, and if you can miss him once, I'm not going to complain about that. Otherwise, once again the Vikings got an early bye, which you kind of like to have a bye around the midpoint of the year if you can. But I'm not going to get too upset about it. So no, I mean 9 home games, 8 road games, and one of those road games is the Mexico City Sunday night game with the 49ers. So I think that's probably I view that as a good thing. I mean, really 7 true road games, which is helpful. I mean, And if you're playing an international game and you don't have to leave your time zone, I think that's a good thing. I mean, last year the Vikings had to, they were 2 weeks overseas, which is kind of goofy. A team had never done that before. Think is doing that again, where they were playing in 2 different places. I think Jacksonville's doing back-to-back games over in the UK, but no, otherwise it's.
Yeah, for me, from a Green Bay perspective, you use the word goofy. Green Bay's is goofy in terms of just like some days, 2 Thursdays, which kind of surprised me in the first, like between, week 3 is their first Thursday, then a month later is another Thursday night game, which I was like, okay. And then a Wednesday with the day before Thanksgiving, and then Christmas Day Friday. And then, one Monday night game, which is week 17, 2 Sunday night games on there too. So they're potentially could play they can do their check marks of, we played on a Monday, we played on a Wednesday, we played on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The only one wouldn't be is Tuesday, potentially Saturday, that last one against the Lions, depending on probably how standings are and such. But yeah, that's going to be the goofy part. With that, I think honestly of everything, there's a lot to look at, but from a Green Bay side, to see 2 Thursdays right away was interesting.
It's also kind of weird to me to open up your home schedule on Thursday night. Like I get Buffalo is, but they're also opening a new stadium, so like that's a little different to me. But like I don't know, it's just odd. Like you have you have your first 2 games on the road, and then you open up your first game on a Thursday night. I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, I honestly kind of noticed that too. I was like, oh, okay. And I get there's going to be another team, whoever's got the first Thursday, I think, depending on if they open up both at home.
Well, and that's the thing the week before Buffalo, because they host Detroit, and that's opening up their new stadium on a Thursday night. So technically they are too, but like that's different. To me,
that's different.
To me, that feels different. But
yeah.
No, and the other really the big thing I always do when the schedule comes out is I will actually go through like the full league schedule and kind of because usually I can pretty well project like, okay, how many Viking games am I going to be able to watch?
Yeah,
just because, and I think the number I came up with through the first 16 weeks was probably 14.
Oh, nice.
Just because obviously, anytime they're on the same time as the Packers, if they're on the same network, obviously it's not going to happen. But and then you kind of factoring in what you assume the doubleheaders are going to be and stuff like that. And like, I think there was only 2 games that wasn't the case, but ironically, they were within the first month.
Okay. It's kind of so that first Packers-Viking one's on CBS too.
Yeah, which is yeah. So I'm assuming the week 1 are they just doing maybe 2 doubleheaders?
Must be. I would assume so.
That's because I think it's Eagles Washington.
Yep.
Is America's game of the week on Fox, but like I don't know, like Packers-Vikings is a pretty decent like. Mm-hmm. So I
would imagine that's a Romo and Nance one.
I would think so. Because I don't think there was too much else.
Let me bring it up here.
Peruse.
So the week I don't want that one. Here we go. So week 1, because it's New England at Seattle to open it up Wednesday, and then San Francisco Rams Thursday. Chicago at Carolina. That's at 12. Tampa. That's Fox. Unless they do the noon Buffalo at Houston. Would that be a Tony and Nance one?
Maybe.
Yeah. Baltimore at the Colts. Cleveland, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Pittsburgh. Jets, Titans. Don't think it'll be that one. Cardinals, not Dolphins, Raiders, because they don't have it. Yeah. Green Bay, Minnesota. Yeah, the only other one I could see it being would be that noon.
Buffalo, Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. And
But because my thing then would be like, well, then why would they put it at 325? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
no, I agree.
So, but yeah,
we'll see how we got plenty of time for them to figure that part out. So, but I don't know if you're like me. I don't like picking games as soon as the schedule comes out because it's May and there's so much.
There's a lot that's going to change,
right?
Like, yeah, I'm not. Obviously, some people just kind of looking like, well, here's my first whatever.
Mm-hmm. So if anybody asks me what I think, I answer 17-0. It's just, I mean, you're talking about how many months there's, and what I mean by that is there could be injuries. Knock on wood, there's not. There could be so many other things. Maybe Micah plays week 1.
Maybe.
Tucker Kraft. We don't know that.
Yeah.
And would that change picks? Yes, it would for me.
Yeah,
It would. And I know for some people, like, oh, they could still beat them. Yeah, they could.
but the percentage it
But
feels
the
like
percentages
ticks
go
up
up.
a little bit. Yeah,
Big time. And that's where I'm not going to pick games on May 15th when the season starts September 13th, because there's so much that could transpire. On the negative side, what if something happens in preseason?
right. I mean, that's always kind of the minefield you walk through in preseason. Is okay. Well, were you able to avoid kind of the big things?
Right.
Injuries, suspension, whatever.
I'm just really, it works out incredibly well for hunting season for me this year. They have a bye opening weekend, and then they play the Wednesday night.
Should they be playing the Vikings opening week? I think it's the week before.
It is.
And,
okay, I'm glad you said that. I said that it feels like every year.
Yep, it feels like every year the Packers and Vikings play on the opening Sunday of hunting.
I know one year was the 49ers because I was watching it on my phone.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So and then they obviously the Wednesday night game. So yeah, that works out really well for you to maximize.
It does.
Stand time.
The only thing I don't like is Bears Packers on Christmas. Now, if Green Bay wins, I'm ecstatic and Christmas is better. But if they lose, man, I don't like that. But I'm not surprised they did that.
No, I mean, I think after last year, Packers Bears is always, given pretty good treatment, but I think especially after last year and what those games were like, they were probably like, we need to find a way to.
Well, and you look at the matchups on Christmas: Rams, Seahawks, division but drama. Obviously, this one, and then it's Buffalo, Denver, which playoff drama from last year.
Well, the funny thing too is I think they tried to do it a little bit last year. It's just you end up with Vikings Lions, which was certainly a game that happened on Christmas, but.
Maybe they learned their lesson a little bit.
Well, I mean, at the start of the year, that one looked like it was a heavy hitter too. But
well, and that's the risk you do having. You don't know. You
can have some, and one of amongst all of the things they do for schedules now, one of the best moves they made was when they went to all division games the last week, because you're guaranteed to have something that matters.
Yes. Yep. I would agree. All right, let's take our final break for this hour before we head into halftime. If you would like to chime in on your thoughts on the schedule release, regardless if you are a Packers, Vikings, Bears, Lions, whoever fan, send it on over. All right, hit us up. We'll take a quick break and be back to wrap up the second hour after these few words. Whether you are chasing a championship or you're just trying to stay active, your body deserves the best care. At Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, they help athletes and non-athletes alike to get back to doing what they love. From sports injuries and joint pain to everyday aches, their expert team is here with personalized care every step of the way. So no matter your level of activity, you do not have to sit on the sidelines. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, helping you move better, to feel better, and to live better. We got about 10 minutes left to the top. In the 8 o'clock hour, we'll kick it off with a little cream of the crop, and then we'll do some local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center, and then jump into our AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle. If you want, you can continue to send us your thoughts on the schedule release, or give us some grades when it comes to the Brewers with their first quarter grades officially in the books. So just really quick little nugget here. I did see this one. I think it was Zach Lowe. Let me double check if I can find it. He had mentioned on a podcast that he had dinner with a high-powered agent. Yeah, Zach Lowe said that regarding Giannis, he had breakfast with an agent, a very high-powered agent the other day, and the agent said, "I'm still betting no trade."
Was it Jerry Maguire?
But as somebody said, that won't make headlines or newsworthy stuff, because it doesn't push the needle or the narrative in that. But all right, I don't know who this high agent is, obviously, and but I think kind of a little nice nugget to hear that, right? I mean, I still want Giannis there.
I would like him to stay, but I think regardless of how you feel, I think there's so many people that you just want some sort of concrete, okay, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If he signs an extension, okay, great. If they decide to trade him, great. And for all of the things you can say about Jimmy Haslam when it comes to ownership and stuff, I do appreciate the fact that he's like, look, it's going to be one of two things.
Yeah. Kind of drawing the line in the sand.
Right. The worst thing they could do would be go into next year without an extension and just keeping on that last year of the deal, because if he's not re-signing, then you trade him.
Mm-hmm.
If he wants to re-sign, figure it out.
Yep. Yeah. So I saw Miles Turner, too, also kind of throwing some shade at Doc, not fining people for being late and that, which, dude, where was this relaxation when you were with Orlando? I still go back to the Tim Duncan thing, man.
And I kind of laughed, too, because, like, boy, this stuff wasn't brought up during the year.
Right.
But the second the season's over and,
and the coach is gone.
Then suddenly it's like, well.
That's where it's like and maybe we don't have privy to the conversations in the locker room, but where's team leadership then?
Right.
Where's the players' leadership?
Where's accountability?
Exactly. Where is that? And if players are taking advantage of that, I don't know if I want those players on my team.
Right.
And maybe we do need that clean sweep of some of those players. Like, all right, get your booties out of here, sort of thing. But
well, we know that the Bucs are picking 10th, so.
Yeah, which I've seen the kid from Tennessee's been heavily mocked there. I feel like
every single mock draft I've seen has been that guy.
Yeah. I did see one with apparently one report was the Bucs were doing extra work on the center from Michigan, the 7'3" guy, the defensive player of the year from the Big Ten. So that would be more of a rim protector type of role, I would imagine. Okay. Let's say that is the pick, and they keep Miles Turner and Giannis. That's a lot of...
It's not beef.
That's a lot of... Jay Billis is going to go nuts on draft night with wingspan. So I'd still like to see a guard potentially, or a typical three.
I would. I mean, I'm just going to be like, okay,
best player.
Talent. I mean, especially with how positionless basketball has kind of become.
Yeah. To me, it is basketball. The NBA draft is different than the NFL.
Yeah.
Whereas, just get the best player. Regardless of position, figure it out later. Get the best player on the board.
Talent. You need the infusion of young talent.
Yep. Yeah. So it's just, and it's the same as baseball, I think, too, for the MLB draft. Unless you have that, I think you got farm systems, you got all this, you just get the best
There's
player
ways
out
you
there.
can go about it. I mean, whoever it is could be a really big fixture for the Wisconsin Herd.
That's true. But, okay. A few minutes left. Going back to the schedule thing, I'll admit, I didn't have a chance to watch all the videos. So I don't know if one jumped. I did watch the Packers one. I'm very confused on it. It's like claymation sort of thing, and Clay Matthews is in it. The voices of Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Micah Parsons, Tucker Kraft is in it. Leroy Butler is in it. Weird. But regardless, I appreciate more creativity every year in that. But I do think Chargers and Titans have always set the bar high.
Yeah, usually those are the ones that are usually like the best usually stay the best.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I did chuckle a little bit when I did see, I think it was Pro Football Talk before the schedule release said they had a little bit of a blog saying the NFL was not going to monitor whether teams were going to have Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel references in it. I'm like, oh, okay. But I don't think any team did. So.
I have yet to watch the Chargers one. Like that was one, like I'd seen it and I liked the premise of it, which is just like based off the video game Halo.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But I just got to do it. Like I was busy last night, so
I still think the best one is the Titans when they're going around and interviewing.
But like my thing with that too is like I think you can only do that so much.
Yeah, you can't keep doing it.
Right.
You cannot keep doing it. When they first did it, it was the best.
Right.
Because
now eventually it's like, okay, are these people like really like eventually it's like how often do you have to be out there before you find someone that doesn't know?
That's a once in a time sort of thing.
Right.
But yeah, maybe I'm just old now where I didn't quite grasp the Packers one.
Well, no, and like the Vikings one was fine, but like I don't think in either our team's cases they're ever the one that's like one of the best.
Right.
I mean, the Vikings one was actually starring Will Reichert, the kicker.
Okay.
And it was like a restaurant theme, and the thing I thought was kind of fun was the waiter for the restaurant was noted Vikings fan / pro wrestling legend Chris Jericho. So that was fun. But like, and you have obviously just a bunch of different like foods based off of the teams and stuff like that. So
right,
it was it's fine. Yep. But like I guess put it this way, I don't remember what the Vikings did for any of their previous ones. Actually, no, I take it back. Last year they had like they had like a drone and they were running around like the facility and stuff, and it was fine. Like, but I'm not getting super pumped for it.
Right. Yeah. So, and honestly, I don't know what I would do different. Like, I don't think I have that creative.
Right. That's why I don't get too up in arms with it. Generally, one of my rules in life is like, don't get too mad about something unless you have an idea to do it better. And I really don't. So,
like our Brewers jersey thing, which, by the way, I noticed this in one of the shops at AmFam Field. They do have shirts that say "The Good Land."
Do they really?
But it's for women's only. And I was very upset.
Oh, come on.
Because I was staying in line with Hudson stuff, and I looked to Veronica, my wife, I said, I want that shirt. Because it said, The Good Land. And I'm like, but that's a women's thing. And she's like, yeah.
You can fit into like a women's XL or something.
I probably could. It was like a nice light blue, like, it matches my eyes and sort of thing.
This was like a dozen years ago or so. I think it was my mom had found me and got me, but it was like a kid's like XL or 2XL. It was a gigantic like kid shirt, but I had a Noriaoki shirtsy, but it wasn't Japanese.
Oh, nice.
But I don't think it was like an adult size shirt.
Nice.
I really wish I still had that.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity there.
Come on, Milwaukee.
Yeah, there's maybe because we're out of time here, maybe I'll bring it up. There's a few things I would like to see improve from AmFam. I will say this, but and I got to tell you, sir, probably some people who listen 4 hours each day are going to be tired, but I got to tell you the reaction from Salfrey, like when he came